Welcome to Jets Rewind. This is Marty Shupak. I'm in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ralph Sharega, and we will be joined momentarily by Ray Clifford.
Ray Fashionably Late Clifford.
No, actually, he's on time. I'm just early for personal reasons. But I just wanted to give a couple of last thoughts, Ralph. How you doing today, okay?
Very well, very well.
We're recording this at around a few minutes before 5 o'clock on Friday.
The good news is that Zach Wilson was not sacked today.
Right, September 17th. Just a couple of last thoughts, and Ray doesn't agree with me, and Ralph might not on the Carolina game. And here comes Ray. But I don't look at it like a moral victory. Because I look back at some of the film, that game was so winnable, it's unbelievable. And the fact that we made halftime adjustments. Hi, Ray. I'm going through my whatever it is, my emotions, letting it all out in the last game. But the fact that we made halftime adjustments and we couldn't make any in-game adjustments, it's an insult. Don't let these coaches off the hook. I don't care if they're first-year coaches. There are only 32 jobs in the United States out of 300 million people. They got to do a better job. They really do. That's number one. And number two, if they had played Denzel Mims, the Jets win this game. And this thing has been going on, and I don't know what's going on. It's something beyond just him running bad patterns or what. In case you haven't heard, the 49ers are their receiver Ayuk. He didn't
Brandon Ayuk, yeah.
Yeah, they actually were doing the same thing to him. So there's some sort of standard in this system, but I still think if they had played Mims, I believe, and if they made some on-field adjustments in the first or second quarter, they could have won the game. And I want to give a heads up, looking over the film, this Christian McCaffrey, I got to tell you, on that touchdown pass to Robbie Anderson, he picked up Sheldon Rankings and threw such a nice block. If he doesn't throw that block, Darnold never gets that ball off. That guy is some player. The other thing I would have mentioned, too, going back to the film, I thought that Dan Feeney was awful. Ryan Griffith is so bad as a pass blocker and run blocker. It's unbelievable. The guy caught a couple of passes, but he's a terrible blocker. I don't even want him on the field. So that's my feelings before we move on. I don't know if Ray and Ralph, you want to add?
Yeah, I'll respond a little. First of all, Wesco fanned on a block, too. I find it interesting that Ryan Griffin was like cut, and then suddenly he's like their number one tight end, which is kind of weird. I don't get that. I mean, I know he and Croft like 1-2, but
Ralph, did you see some of his blocking though?
I know he's not that great a player. I don't understand. Like I said, as far as the Jets win the game with Mims, I don't agree with that at all. Mims wasn't going to keep Zach Wilson from getting harassed every play, so I don't think that. That's the difference in the game. Not that I'm going to let the coaches off. We'll get into the coaching staff and a little later in the show and the Mims questions too.
Ray, any last thoughts before we move on?
No, Ralph just basically said the one I was going to say was I'm not in any agreement that Mims plays, we win. I mean, could he have made a difference? Maybe, but he hasn't impressed me enough to say he's that much of a difference maker so far in his career. So that's the only thing I mean,
I don't care if Jerry Rice and Randy Moss are out there. If he's getting rushed like that, they're useless.
Listen, if you listen to me closely, I said two things. They both had to be in concert: the on-field adjustments, and Mims. I'm not saying if they didn't make any adjustments and just put Mims in. I'll give you a case in point. The Giants last night lost their player Gates, who was the center, and they actually were playing him at guard. He went out with an outrageous fractured leg, and somehow the Giants, even though they lost a heartbreaker, they managed to piece together a halfway decent offensive line by doing different things to offset Washington's great front four. And the fact that the Jets couldn't do that, it's kind of insulting to me. That's how I feel. I'm sorry. I mean, we've lived through some of these offensive line coaches, as Ralph had mentioned the last show, and this head
Actually, I
coach.
mentioned it to you off there. I didn't. That wasn't on
Yeah.
the show.
Whatever it is, it's just
Yeah.
getting to be ridiculous. We let a game like that go, and I still say it was a winnable game. All right, with that, let's get right to our trivia question because we have a lot to do tonight. Go ahead, Ralph.
Okay, surprise, surprise. Today's question has to do with sacks. What is the record for the most sacks a Jet quarterback has been sacked in a game? And can you name the quarterback?
Okay, I'm right.
Oh, you were going to say a year. I had that one.
No, I'm just taking a guess.
You were going to
No.
say, you thought I was going to say what?
For the year. I was like,
Oh, for the year.
yeah.
Oh, God, I didn't even want to think about that.
I think
Because if at Zach Wilson's pace, he's going to have over 100 sacks.
Yeah, we'll have
you're
it.
right. I think it's one or two, but I'm going to write them both down. But by the end of the show, when we come back to the question, I'll pick the one. All right, going back to the offensive line, I want to hear from everyone, including myself. Who gets most of the blame for that performance? Was it Joe Douglas? Was it the coaching staff? Was it the players? Was it all three? Was it just one? Was it just two? Ray, why don't you start?
Well, I mean, you can point your fingers in a lot of directions for things, but ultimately it comes down to this line was constructed by Joe Douglas, and I point to him as the number one reason. I don't think he's drafted well enough for the offensive line. I don't think he's brought in free agents that would upgrade. He took more guys off the scrap heap. And I'm not saying he had to go out and go for the highest, the fanciest, the sexiest pick as a free agent.
He wasn't going to get him even if he wanted to.
Wasn't.
Yeah.
But even if he could have, I'm not. There were so many mid-level free agents available that could have upgraded. I mean, we took the toss off from San Diego for the guy I wanted him to get, that feeler out of.
That's right. And San Diego had the lowest rated offensive line in the league last year by PFF.
Yeah.
So,
and we took the guy.
Talk about dumpster diving. Yeah.
Dan Feeney started on their offensive line, I think, 4 years in a row.
Yeah, I know. Did you watch Justin Herbert? He was running for his life like Wilson was all year.
So yeah, I mean, you could say the coaching staff has their fingers involved. You can say the players, although the players haven't played together enough that I think that you can blame them a whole lot until you play together and can gel some. And it's been such a revolving door all year.
Ray, I'm sorry, but
no, you got to play together to be a good offensive line.
All I heard all week was Carolina has a band-aid offensive line.
Just because one team doesn't mean
they were missing.
We played Seattle when we were a better team, and they had 5 guys who had not even started one game together, and they didn't give up a sack.
Right.
That doesn't mean, but that isn't the point. The point is this team, it's rookies and guys who hadn't played together, and you can't take what one team did and apply it to somebody else.
But we just did what 2 teams did. Seattle that year, and
Seattle 10 years ago.
Carolina was missing their best offensive lineman.
So were we by the second quarter.
Boy, if he's our best offensive lineman, we're in trouble.
Who's the guy we had? Trumaine Johnson. Was that the bad free agent we signed?
We've signed a lot of bad free agents.
No, the defensive back was that?
Yeah.
Is Connor McGovern the new Trumaine Johnson? I mean, when is that guy going to show up?
I don't think we paid him 80 some million. We lost you, Ralph. I don't think we paid him $80 million. So
yeah, but of course we didn't pay him $80 million. I understand that, but he's not coming through from what I see. I don't see anything from this guy. We didn't see it last year. He was good in Denver. He gets to the Jets and he's pitiful.
Oh, anyway, well, okay, that'll dovetail right into my answer. I think obviously they all have blame, but for me, it's the coaching staff. I watched some of those plays. Those guys didn't know who to block. One guy was trying to block 2 guys. One guy had no one. I don't think they were prepared at all. That doesn't mean that they didn't screw up because of their lack of foot quickness or technique too. But, they have a new scheme now, and it just looks like the guys were clueless on what to do. The tight ends as well. I thought it was a preparation thing. Marty, you talk about game adjustments. that was such a systemic problem there. I cannot see that they were going to adjust during the game. At halftime, okay, you bring in backs to block more tight ends, but they got some huge problems, and I am really worried about this game and Zach Wilson in the next few games, because this guy is talented, and if they get him all beaten up, I'm going to give up on this team forever, because this guy can take them someplace.
Ralph, why do you have to wait for halftime to say, Coach, they're not doing the job. Let's put two running backs.
Marty, I just said, their whole scheme, these guys didn't even know what to do. If they couldn't, they teach it to them during the whole week. You think they're going to have them learn it like on the sideline?
It's just unbelievable. And just so you know, and I think it's a combination of all three, but I'm not taking like the easy way out, but I just do. I think the players are not that good. I think the coaching staff, they couldn't make the adjustment. And Joe Douglas, as Ray said, he missed out on combination of free agents he could have picked up and players. I don't know if he had any clue that, Alex Lewis was Norman Bates. He just, he just flipped. And as soon as the season starts, he retires or whatever. But moving to the go ahead, Ralph.
Not that Alex Lewis is going to turn that whole game around.
No.
But, you can't say that Vera Tucker's a bad player. I mean, we don't know yet, but he probably will be a good player. But he looked lost out. There was one play where he had two guys to block, and Connor McGovern was going the other way. I mean, to me, that's bad coaching. I mean, what's with these guys?
Right.
I mean,
and you know that on Sunday, what the Patriots are going to do, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to do delayed blitzes, and they're going to do stunts all afternoon.
All right, we'll see. This is going to be a great test for this coaching staff and Zach Wilson. How much did they learn from last week? Yeah, they'll get tricked sometimes by Belichick, but they should play better. I mean, the bar is so low. It can't get any worse than that. That was as bad an offensive line performances as you can possibly imagine. I mean, if Zach Wilson weren't such a good athlete, he would have been sacked 10 or 12 times. It was painful. I turned it off in the middle of the second quarter.
He's got next time though in that scramble where he got sacked, he's got to throw the ball away.
Yeah.
He's got to know he's got to get rid of the ball.
I mean, the poor kid. I mean, his first start, and within 5 plays, he's getting bombarded. So of course, his head must have been spinning in the first half. It was.
Ray, I want to ask you, when they made the cuts at the end of training camp, they cut Daniel Jones and they cut Ryan Griffin.
Daniel Brown, yeah.
Daniel Brown, I'm sorry.
Daniel Jones is about to get cut by the Giants.
He's a whole different cut.
Daniel Jones had a good,
we'll pick him up.
He had a good game.
Yeah, he's fine. I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
But anyway, those two players were cut, Ray. And then I remember when they were put on, even Ralph he asked a question. I don't know if it was on or off the air. He said, "Are those two players on the roster?" I don't know if you remember that, Ralph. You like,
yeah, really.
And I made a statement, Ray, that I would have bet, not my life, but I was like 80% sure that he was working on a tight end in the background. Did you have that feeling at all, whether it was a waiver deal or a trade? I don't want to reopen that Zach Ertz thing. It's that ship has sailed. But did you think he was going to bring another tight end, Ray?
Oh yeah, because I didn't think we were going to go with Trevin Wesco, and they needed somebody else. So I thought maybe he had something in mind, but I'm not sure where we're going now as far as his plan for personnel or anything. I think there have been so many missteps on several positions, and this is just another one. I mean, I like what he got for Herndon, but I don't think he was prepared for it. I don't think he had any thought of we've gotten rid of him. Now what do we do?
Well, again, do you think Herndon would have made much difference?
He's a better pass blocker, Ralph.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he would have been a game changer, but when he's doing things right, he can be somebody who makes a difference. So I don't know if we have that anymore.
All right, let's move on to the next question, which actually Ralph came up, and Ralph, leave it to Ralph to come up with these heartbreakers,
Hypotheticals, yeah.
hypotheticals that you don't know what to do. And the
I
question
do.
is, what would you rather happen Sunday? The Jets win, and Wilson is sacked 5 times, or the Jets lose and Wilson is sacked once. I'm going to start. I'm sorry, Zach, but I'm going to go with the win. That's just
Yeah.
I'm just a born sore loser. I'm just assuming the sacks wouldn't be as bad as that sack where you hit your head on the turf. But I want to go with the win. I'm sorry you're going to have to be sacked 5 more times, or I'd rather have the win. Ralph?
I'd rather have the one sack because I'm looking big picture. This offensive line, if they're going to have him sacked 5 times a game, one win isn't going to make a difference. He's not going to last the season.
We've been rebuilding my whole life, Ralph. My whole life, the Jets have been rebuilding.
Well, you're going to rebuild again if he gets sacked 5 times a game.
We don't know what's going to happen the game after that, but I want to win a game. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah.
I'll take the win because even though he gets sacked 5 times, if we win, that means he did a lot of good things too.
Maybe, a couple of turnovers, a punt return or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if we win that game, then we're doing something good.
Okay.
But I mean, who knows?
It's a tough question, Ralph.
Well, that's what makes it fun.
It does, and I don't see him getting sacked and the Jets winning, but it's a good question. All right,
although I heard a statistic today about the Giant game last night. I can't even remember. They were just talking about it on the radio. They had like 8 or 9 drives and 7 of them for scores or something, and the 2 punts, and they lost the game. And in the last 20 years, the teams that have had that situation are 204, 220 in wins and 4 losses. It's like an incredible rarity for that to happen. So, maybe he's getting sacked 5 times and winning happens once in a while too.
I just want to jump around. You mentioned the Giants, and again, this is a Jets show, but one of the things I put down, 2 receivers that were glared are not Jets, that could very easily have been Jets. Let's see if you guys can guess who they are.
Well, obviously, Kadarius Toney is one that you have in mind. Who's the other one? Odell Beckham?
No, Kenny Galladay.
Kenny Galladay.
He I don't know if you guys saw what happened on the sidelines. He went berserk. At first, they said it was against Daniel Jones, but then it came out that they said it was against Jason Garrett. But it's all over the internet. He was going crazy.
Why? Because he wasn't getting the ball?
Probably. Why? Yeah. What else does a receiver do?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're keeping Davis happy, right?
But Ray, you know this Kadarius Toney, right?
I don't know a lot about it. I remember him, but I don't know.
He's like an Instagram junkie, and he's got an Instagram name called Young YUNG Joker, JOKA, like the Joker in Batman. And just so you know, he sounds like he's going to be a pain in the neck.
Oh,
like
definitely.
Odell Beckham 2.0.
Yeah.
Ralph, last night there were 19 plays when he was on the field. There was 0 targets to him.
Yeah.
So I remember we were talking, guys, that it was a great thing that we got Elijah Moore over him. I thought they were fairly similar. I thought there were 3 guys that were similar: Tony, Elijah Moore, and the guy from Purdue,
whose name is Moore also.
Yeah,
Rondale
Moore. I thought they were fairly similar, but thank God we got Elijah Moore, and that segues me into the next question, which is a few over-unders. And here we go, the first one. And Queen Williams, over-under half a sack. You could put over-under. If you think it's going to be a half, you could say a half. Ray?
I'll go over. I think he can get in there on one.
I'm going to go over. Last year, he broke out against San Francisco in the second week. So let's see if he can do it again. I think he's playing himself into shape. So, he'll get better with each week.
Okay, all these Jet players play themselves into shape. But talking about that,
Or
I
off
just
the
want to
team.
mention. Wait a minute. I don't care what anyone says. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think Mekhi Becton is going to play one more down in 2021 this season.
I think there's a good chance you're right about that.
Ray, what's your feeling?
You know, I don't think it's a long season. I think he'll play again.
Yeah, but you know how long it's going to take him to get back into shape.
I didn't say he'd play a lot. He might.
And I'll tell you another one good thing that comes out of this is, you know, I feel badly that we lost Carl Lawson, but apparently Carl Lawson's probably not as good as we thought he was by beating this guy.
Everybody beats him.
Yeah. What happened? That's another thing. What happened to him? He was a better player last year. I mean, who's that on, him or the coaching staff? I don't really know. He's not out of shape. I mean, he looked fine.
He's in great shape.
So what's the deal? Is it the scheme? What is it? I mean, I'm confused with him.
With who? Becton?
Becton, yeah.
I listen. This guy's going to be hurt.
Yeah, well, that is the problem.
And you guys laughed at me when I brought up the question: are they going to sign a 5th-year option? I'm telling you now, they're not.
Well, I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but Marty, I think you actually hit on something this time. I think we're going to have to give it to you. You're right about Becton.
Well, the only reason we were laughing is because you're asking into year one. You know.
No, I just look at guys and I just see. Listen, I think for tackles, I want him big. I don't really want him over 6'6" or 6'6.5". And he's got such a high center of gravity. I just think it was a matter of time before he got hurt.
There are some great ones. Jonathan Ogden was very tall.
Very good.
Yeah.
He was great.
You know, I heard you mention, Marty, that you think that with their top 4 picks, they should take 2 offensive linemen. I agree with you on that. You know, an interior and a tackle. They need to go that direction. I know it's early to talk about the draft after one loss, but that's
typical Jet podcast.
I know, but you know what? It's the highlight of the season for Jet fans. What can you say? I mean, I'm still looking. I'm counting the days to the next draft.
I heard there's a good center for
wait till next year.
Yeah.
All right, Ray. Over under. The Jets will rush for 60 yards as a team. Kyle Van Noy is a scratch from the game.
What did they get last week? About 20?
I don't even know.
Not enough. I'm going to say yes, because we're going to break one run for 55 yards and we're going to get 68 total.
Yeah, I think they'll do it. You know, they could break, you know, get 120 or 30 yard and they're halfway there. Or, you know, or maybe there'll be some garbage running at the end of the game. So when they're killing the clock, when they're killing the clock with an 8-point lead or something, right?
Right, Ralph, you should text Kenny Galladay, tell him to hang in there. There's going to be a lot of garbage time. You're going to be catching a lot of balls for the Giants after October, you know? All right, here we go. Ralph, Elijah Moore, over under 2.5 catches. Not touches, catches.
Over.
Wow. Okay. How many do you think, Ralph?
3.
Ray?
Well, that depends. If Crowder plays,
Ray is what Ralph. Ray, I don't know if you know, he's running for the House of Representatives in Ohio. You know?
Yeah,
Ask him a direct.
Ray, you should try and become the Ohio State head coach. I think they're going to need a new one.
Marty's the king of either.
That's true. Go ahead, Ray.
I said it's going to depend for me anyway on does Crowder play or not, because right now he's questionable. If Crowder plays, under. Crowder doesn't play, yeah, he'll go over.
Okay, I actually think he's going to have a good game. I think they're going to. I think he's going to have like 5 catches, so I would go over. Okay, Ray, who throws an interception first, Zach Wilson or Mac Jones?
I'm going to have to go with Zach at this point, not because I think Jones is that much better, but I don't know if we'll get pressure on him. And I just think Zach's going to be under pressure, so I'll go with Zach.
Ralph?
I'm going to go with Zach too, because, Mac Jones, they don't ask him to do a lot.
No.
Zach Wilson was throwing
Yeah.
much tougher passes, going over the top, trying to fit balls in, and they don't. And I'm sure, Belichick's approach is going to be, why should we take chances? We're the better team. We'll just wear them down. So I think it'll be Wilson because he's going to try more. But
And I actually think, Ray and Ralph, I agree with you. I think that's a good thing in a way, because
I agree.
he's more of a cowboy. He has more of an edge on him. And in the end, you'll see it'll end up being if everything works out with this organization, a positive. He'll have some very good comeback victories, and we'll see that. All right, here we go. We're on the Zach Wilson. Next couple of questions are about him.
I know it's the sacks, right?
Over, under 250 yards passing. Ralph.
Over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ray.
Well, I think he's going to be throwing a lot, but I'm going to go under. I think he'll crack 200, but I don't know if he'll get over 250.
Okay. All right. All right, Ralph, I'll go right to you because you guessed the question. Over, under on sacked. Zach Wilson, will he be sacked over, under 2.5 times?
I knew that was the number you were going to pick. I'll probably say 3 over.
Okay, Ray?
I'll say over. I don't know.
I think they'll do better blocking this week.
I really
Yeah.
hope so.
I mean,
Hey,
like I
Marty,
said,
you
the
didn't
bar is
answer your
low.
own last question.
I'm sorry, Ray?
You didn't give us your answer to the last question
Oh, on Zach Wilson?
on the yardage.
I'm going to say over because I'm going to go with Elijah Moore.
Okay.
I mean, and I think I mentioned to you guys, Elijah Moore, my son Michael, I convinced him to take him on his fantasy team.
Okay.
You hear that story, Ralph?
So yeah. So you have a vested interest in this whole
Yeah,
thing.
I do. Okay, and Zach Wilson, I think he's only going to be sacked once. How's that?
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Here's a yes or no question. Is Denzel Mims? We're going to get into him in a minute. Will he be activated for the game, Ray? I know you're going to say it depends upon. Let's say Crowder and Cole are activated.
Obviously, yeah. That's assuming they are, because if they aren't, then yes, he obviously will be activated. But assuming they are, I'm going to say yeah. They're gonna try and pump up his ego a little bit and try and make him feel good. I think they'll still activate him even with those guys.
Well, Ray, you use the term ego. You could substitute that word with value. You know that if he's on the trade market. And I heard a rumor that who might be interested in him.
Well,
yeah, it would probably be his old coach, right?
Yeah, Carolina rule.
Well,
yeah.
they have some good receivers. I don't even think they need him.
Yeah.
Active.
And that whole article by Samini, during the training camp, they said he was going to be traded or cut. I don't buy any of that stuff. I think he's going to be activated. I mean, the idea of having Jeff Smith over him is ridiculous. I mean, Jeff Smith has never done anything. This guy at least produces sometimes, So, yeah, he'll be active.
Jeff Smith, Ray, Ralph never liked those BC football players.
It was like those Smith guys, those fast receivers.
Is he activated or not, Ralph? Josh Adams.
Josh Adams? No, I don't think so. No.
Ray.
No, I don't think so either.
I think they're going to activate him.
I hope they do.
I do. I really do.
I
All right. Last two. Jets score 20.5. Over, under. Ralph.
Over.
Ray.
Under.
Okay. I'm going to say over. Pats score 27.5. Ray.
Under.
Under.
That's really.
Under.
I'm really thinking our defense is going to step up.
Under. Well, they could score 24. That's not. That's plenty.
Well, we got a new Mike linebacker. This guy, BJ Goodson, is his name.
Oh my God, we have a revolving door of
But-
linebackers.
Right. But not put a little scouting report from what I know, Ralph. You could, connect the dots, but the Patriots have good tight ends. I don't think their wide receivers should really scare us. They have a very good offensive line. Their defensive line, I don't know much about. Their linebackers were good, but Vanoy is out. And their secondary, they're missing. Who's that?
Well, Stephen Gilmore's gone, for a
Gilmore.
while.
Yeah, for a while.
The word on the Patriots is they're really happy with their front seven. They're a little concerned about their D-backs. Their rookie running back Stevenson from Oklahoma, he fumbled late in the game, so he's probably going to be out in Siberia for a few weeks, which is good because he's actually is kind of a dangerous running back. But yeah, their wide receivers have never been good. In 20 years with Brady, other than Randy Moss, they never really had a big time wide receiver. Belichick's terrible at drafting them. You want to talk about Denzel Mims. A couple of years ago, they picked N'Keal Harry in the first round from your alma mater, Marty. He has been such a bust. I mean, he's a bust. Denzel Mims would be a star if he'd produced up here what he's done with the Jets, but they've stuck with him, and
Right.
I don't think the Jets are getting rid of Mims anytime soon, unless they can get right now a second round pick for him. And I don't think they're going to.
They're not going to get a second round pick. And
No.
By the way, we've mentioned before in the show, with all their wide receivers, they never won a Super Bowl with Randy Moss.
That's right.
Which is interesting though too.
That's right. I think Branch was probably their best wide receiver in a Super Bowl winning year. And then he left, as a free agent. But
Welker was a slot receiver, and
he's a slot, and so is Amendola, and so is Edelman. Yeah.
Right.
By the way, Matt Amendola, he should have been special teams player of the month. What he did, in my 60 years of watching football, I've never seen. Back in our day, defensive backs used to be punters and stuff like that.
Right.
But this guy, he never punted ever. It's
Right.
like unbelievable.
I think he might have won it if he'd have just kicked a field goal during the game.
That's right.
And do his own kicking. But yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, why isn't he the special teams player of the week?
Yeah.
I will say real quick though, yes, they didn't, and I don't love to give Bill or the Patriots any props. No, they didn't win a Super Bowl with Moss, but they went 18-0 and almost.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. But it just proves that you got a good offensive line play and a good quarterback. The receivers, they'll take care of themselves. You don't need great receivers to win.
No.
Right. You're right. You don't need great receivers. You don't need great running backs. It's all the trenches. That's
It is the trenches and the quarterback. Yeah.
All right. Let's quickly talk about the biggest topic in Florham Park. This Denzel Mims, second round pick from Baylor. Joe Douglas maneuvered the draft 2020, trading down, and he was still available. He picked him. Last year, he had all these pulled muscles, and he only
one pulled muscle, Marty. Don't be so rough on him.
I'm just saying he played in a few games.
Yeah.
But for the amount of time he played, he looked incredibly talented. And if you look at him at Baylor, and I know everyone's highlight films from college is phenomenal, but this guy makes some incredible catches. His catching radius, as Ralph had mentioned, was fantastic. What's your take on this, Ray? I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and shows and everything, and I try to listen to Salad and try to get any subtle hints. The last thing he said that I thought had any meaning was that if you're not starting, we want you to know all three positions so you could go in at a second's notice. But Ray, what's your take on this Denzel Mims situation?
Well, I don't, and I understand what Salah's saying, but I don't really agree with that. He's not the type to be a slot receiver.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's a one or two receiver on the outside. He's going to stretch the field. He's going to fight for passes. He's going to make plays in the tough areas. I think they should be trying to find ways to get him on the field, not trying to find reasons not to have him on the field. That's almost what it sounds like now is, well, he can't play all three positions, so he's behind everybody on the depth chart. Well, you know what? If Corey Davis can't go, that's the next guy I want in there. And I don't understand the thinking that, well, next guy up's Jeff Smith, or the next guy up is Braxton Berrios because he knows all three positions. He should be the number two, or on the other side from Davis if Keelan Cole wasn't going. But holding him off the field for that, to me, is just a lame excuse for, I guess they don't like him because he doesn't fit their system perfectly, but I want that guy on the field.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said, Ray, 100%. Another thing I wonder about is, the fact that Saleh came out and gave a reason about how he's not learned the playbook. I mean, that is not the kind of thing that a lot of coaches are going to do. I'm wondering if 2 or 3 years down the line, when Saleh's been around for a while, if he's so open about that. I question whether that was really the right thing to do. I mean, I know as fans we want to know, but I kind of feel like he's throwing him under the bus in public. And I like I said, I agree with everything you said. They should find ways to get this guy on the field.
Yeah.
The slot thing to me is BS. I mean, they have so many slot receivers that there's never going to be a need for him to play that position.
Right.
So
I wouldn't want him on
yeah,
that
exactly.
slot.
No, he's not built for it at
It's
all.
not the kind of receiver he is. Who cares if he can run their patterns?
Right. Right. It's funny you mention. I was just going to say that I heard a commentary on ESPN radio. They were saying that or Saleh said a lot of the receivers, whenever he mentions a receiver, he's doing a great job learning the playbook and running the routes, which is a subtle knock on Mims. But you know what? A guy like that, if he's not going to run every route, so what? Let him run the route he wants to run.
And Robbie Anderson's made a great career of just running along, And Mims can run much more, do much more than Robbie Anderson.
I mean, I think their receivers coach is Miles Austin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But we wanted him for a free agent, remember?
Yeah. As a receiver.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, look, we're going to close this out. Let's go back to the trivia question. I'm going to let Ray answer first.
Let Ray make a fool of himself first, right?
Yeah, I'll be the
Go ahead, Ralph.
I'm going to say it was Namath.
Namath. Well, that makes sense because he was immobile, but
Probably.
they pass blocked well for him.
When he got less mobile, it got worse. But
how many sacks do you think it was?
I was going to say 8.
Okay, Marty, not time for you to make a fool of
I'm
yourself.
actually going to say 8, and if I had it down between Ken O'Brien and Mark Sanchez, I was going to say O'Brien.
Yeah, I know why, because he takes sacks. That's a good guess.
I remember Sanchez, that one, I think it was a Monday night game against the Ravens when they were in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
Faster than the
God.
Panthers were. So I'm going to say Mark Sanchez an 8.
So anyway, the answer is 11. It's happened twice. The last time was 2012. You want to guess who the quarterback was?
I don't.
It was Greg McElroy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
The other time it happened was during the replacement year in '87, so I don't count that. The kid from UCLA, I forget his name. He became an announcer.
Gary Beeman?
No, not Gary Beeman. This is
Mark Harmon.
87. No, what the hell is this? I can't believe I can't even think of his name. But I don't count that because, although the guys last week look like replacement players on the Jets, but 11, which, by the way, is one short of the all-time NFL record of 12. Yeah. All
right, we're going to close this out for Jets Rewind. This has been Marty Shupak, Ray Clifford, Ralph Schrager. Our next show might not be till Monday. We have to discuss it because I have a wedding on Sunday. So we'll have to.
I have a birthday, so I'm going to be blowing out candles. By the way, if anyone wants to send me a birthday gift, I don't want it. My birthday gift is a Jet win and less than 2 sacks. That would be the best gift of all.
All right. Until next time for Jets Rewind, we look forward to the Patriots.